Boy, do we have some shit for you this week, everybody.
Oh, man.
Oh, damn. Oh, shit. It's going down. Austin found this article on tweaktown.com.
I did.
About a player who spent over $150,000 on a mobile Transformers game.
We said that right. $150,000.
Also, you know you can buy with $150,000?
Anything but a mobile game.
You could buy a small house. You could buy a really expensive ass car. Like a really expensive car.
You can invest in businesses.
You can invest in businesses.
Your own business.
You could buy a Subway franchise probably. Like literally franchise a Subway for $150,000. But instead, the $150,000 is put towards Transformers Earth Wars, a base building game on the mobile phone.
Oh Lord.
And it's scary that exists. So that's double the massive $62,000 spent on RuneScape that somebody had done before. But it makes it easier if you spend the money in this game. It makes it easier to unlock new Transformers, making the mobile game into a old school collect them all toy scheme. So yeah, they have this thing. So the Space Ape CEO who worked on this game apparently went out and said that
in 2016.
In 2016, yeah. People buy their extra builder early. They join a ready-made alliance, usually because it is made up of friends they met in a previous game. As a result, they retain and monetize better, but also are less patient about deviation from the formula. People who are less familiar with the genre, on the other hand, take longer to convert to spender. They need more help finding the right alliance, take longer to ramp up, and et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, this game is a cool game, supposedly, according to, looking at screenshots and stuff like that, it looks interesting. It's got some good stuff, but it preys on the psychology that we've talked about in the past of pushing engagement into a grind and forcing you into monetization schemes that will get you to spend lots and lots of money. And this guy spent a boatload of cash on this game. I don't have anything else to say about it other than
I got a few extra information tidbits that we don't have articles for, but there's a company who's actually trying to develop, and probably have already developed to some degree, an AI that you can stick in your games, like these monetization games on mobile phones and on AAA titles, who will figure out who is a whale. And that means who is going to sink the most money into this.
And then specifically target them with
exactly
incentives
and get them to get more money, and it could potentially change the chances of loot boxes for you because they know you're going to spend money, and you probably won't get the goodies that you want because they want you to sink more money into it.
Yeah.
And on another note, the other thing I want to talk about is there is a person in the UK who did an investigation on loot boxes and went around, talked to teenagers and kids and adults and stuff, and Young Yi did a video on this, so if y'all want to check that out, go to his channel and look on that. I don't have the article here, but this person was asking kids, why do you buy skins, why do you buy loot boxes? And kids were saying, well, if you don't have the cool skin out right now, you're seen as poor.
Right.
And like that's already a social thing. Like not even in the real world that you already like, oh, I don't have a certain clothes or style, then I'm poor or I'm not cool or whatever. Now it's in video games. These AAA companies are preying on our kids, literally. And look what it's done. It's already doing this. And teenagers and some adults were talking to this lady too. And it's like, well, I'm not getting the skin I want. And I know I've already wasted so much money on said loot box, but like I can't help myself but give it more money to pull that lever to try to get my thing or my skin or my character or whatever you're trying to get. And it's just like, holy shit, people actually have problems. And this is an actually big deal. And I'm not one to advocate, government regulation for, free market. But when they are there's a science behind all this. Like it's not hard to see that they're preying on people and no one seems to care because it's a video game. And, they have the rating system for, E for everyone, teen, adult, whatever, mature, R, whatever you want to give it. And it's just like, okay, we have that on there. And parents are so busy these days, they don't have time to look at all this stuff or care about it. It's just like, oh, it's a kid's game, whatever. Yeah. And people are losing money. People are getting addicted. People are being conditioned into being a consumer. That's bad. That's bad. There's a lot of things coming in the future, and gaming is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So
It's really difficult and frustrating.
yes.
But I'm hoping that as people get older, that they can get themselves, because if you look at people back in the day when we were younger, like people found themselves addicted to drugs, found themselves addicted to smoking, addicted to this, addicted to that.
Yeah.
They had their addictions, and then as they got older, some of them stayed with those addictions.
Yeah.
Others largely pulled out of them.
Right.
Like, I mean, how many people of our generation do you see smoking nowadays? Like nobody, well, I mean, vapes exist now, so that's changed things a little bit, but like not many people smoke anymore, which is good. That stuff's all changed, but I'm curious to see as this generation that's being targeted with this stuff, if it'll grow, like what is going to do to their psyche 15 years from now. Like, how is this going to adversely affect other things in their lives?
It's going to affect a lot of things in their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, the world's already changed with Tinder and stuff. Sex is so readily available now.
Yeah.
Relationships are breaking down, and people aren't getting as married as soon.
Yeah.
With all that, with stuff that I've researched, it's basically like if you don't have a family and a job or something you're passionate about, like you have nothing that grounds you, nothing that brings meaning to your life. So it makes sense why teenagers kind of do this, because this is what grounds them to have something they care about. Growing up and being in school, you care about friends, you care about your family, and you might have a job, which helps a little bit. But if you're just going home and doing your homework, and then you got 3 hours to kill before you got to go back to school, yeah, you're gonna play some games and you want to do some cool stuff. I was there.
Yeah.
We were there. We understand that.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
I never
huge
gave
cycle.
into the money.
Well, back in the day,
man.
we didn't have this.
I never
issue.
gave shit to WoW. You freaking
That was like the only
$15
thing.
a month. I know that was the
only
crazy thing. Well, back then I was like, this is the only game that's requiring me to pay money. I'm never going to do that shit.
Right.
And I never did.
Now every game requires
Never
you to pay
did.
money
I never did it.
at some degree.
I held off. You
If you
can't
wanna
break
go
me,
back-
video games.
I don't know if you remember the podcast, but we went back and talked about what games should cost.
Yeah.
And I think there's some good tidbits in that from both of us about, maybe we should be paying more for these games, and maybe that would offset these microtransactions. Like if we knew that we could pay like, I don't know, $70 to $80 for a game,
Yeah.
and we would not have to pay another dime, I think we would do it at this point. I think everyone would do it. At
Especially
this point.
knowing like the roadmap going forward with the game.
Right.
I mean, like again, with Borderlands 3, I paid $100 for the special edition, which is going to give me all the DLC.
Yeah.
And, I made a mistake with Battleborn and it wasn't as good, but I'm hoping with this one it does well. But if they can lay out that roadmap ahead of time of like, this is what you will be expected to receive down the line, it could be pretty solid. But I want to see them get rid of these little, I don't want micro stores within a game anymore. I just feel like that's not the right path to go about it. But I don't know. We'll see.